What's poppin', y'all? We are live. Man, I didn't even know if I wanted to go live because I can't even really get my thoughts together like that. I just know what I want to say. Um, man, this shit might sound like super jumbled up. Um, but I know what I want to say. Um, we're in the Virgo moon. I forgot to do the astral thing so I can see where is the Virgo moon at. What's up? We walking right now. Walking to the smoke shop. But I just got a quick message. Quick message while I'm walking to the smoke shop. Um, I'm trying to see, where do I want to start? Like these impromptu, man, my higher self be having me do these impromptu lives, man. And it's really not for me. It's it's something for me to go back to later, and for me to go back and listen to it. Or it's for somebody out there that may be going through something, not right now, but in like a day or two. But so I guess I'm gonna start here. So on the 28th, um, I did my first doubleheader baseball game, um, where I cooked. I cooked my first time being a cook at the college that I work at. If y'all follow me on TikTok, or not TikTok, but if y'all follow me on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that, then you'll know what college that I cook for. But yeah, so my first time doing that, the 27th was my grandmother's 90th birthday. What's up? What's up, gamer? What's up? So yeah, the 27th was my grandma's 90th birthday. So that was dope. Plus, I can say that I did some cook work for Cat Williams. So shout out to Cat Williams. I can say that I did some cook work for Cat Williams, for Wayne, and for Chris Brown, because I cooked for the Breezy Bowl. So it's crazy how being a cook isn't really something that I thought I was gonna be doing. Like, it's just something that was passed down. It was a gift that was passed down from my mom and my mom's side. But I never thought that I would be doing it as a career. What's up, y'all? But the reason why I brought that up was because on the 28th, my RV ended up getting stuck at the gas station because the starter broke. So I was kind of stranded on the 28th. I was kind of stranded at the gas station. But I just had this overwhelming feeling to not worry about it. Some in my spirit was like, man, they're not gonna bother you. They're not gonna mess with you. You're gonna be all right. Because I was down to like my last $40. So I ain't really got no money to take the Uber to go get the part. So I had to wait until the 1st so I can go and catch the bus so I can get the part. So I get up, I go to sleep, I'm super tired. I get up on the 1st, and I'm getting up to catch the bus, but like something in my like, I just kept feeling like super sleepy. So I kept dozing off. All of a sudden, I get a knock on the door, on the RV door. So I'm like, oh shit, maybe it's the workers, the people who work at BP You know, maybe they about to knock on the door and tell me I gotta go. So I jump up, I put my chef coat on, I put my chef coat on, I put my chef hat on, because I'm finna tell these folks like, yeah, like, yo, I cook at the school across the street. You know, I'm just stuck right now, but I'm about to go right now, catch the bus, and go get the part or whatever. So I'm preparing this stuff that I'm about to say, and then all of a sudden, I open the door, and it's this pastor that I ended up getting like real cool with, because he's done this before when I was at Walmart. But the thing about it is, this was super random. Like you know, where he normally see me at, I'm a ways away from there. So it was just a super coincidence that we even crossed paths. Like, he just randomly just knocked on my door. He was like, hey, what's going on, brother Rick? What's going on, brother Rick? And I'm like, yo, what's going on? What's up, man? You know, I'm over here half asleep. I didn't think that, you know, in a million years that it was gonna be you that was gonna knock on the door. So he was like, yeah, man, my wife, we was just randomly going to the gas station to get some paintbrushes. I'm like, some paintbrushes? I'm like, I didn't know they sold paintbrushes at the gas station. He's like, yeah, we was just going to the gas station to get some stuff, and then we saw your RV on the side of the gas station. We was like, wait, that almost looked like brother Rick RV. And it was his wife that motioned him to go and knock on the door. And if I would have ended up catching the bus, I would have missed him. So I ended up telling him what was going on, and he was like, shit, you know, that's kind of on the way of where we going. So yeah, we'll take you there. So I ended up getting a ride. The AutoZone that had my starter was like 17 minutes away. So he gave me a ride. I was able to get the starter off of warranty, so I ain't have to pay for it. And I was able to get it. So we had a talk, you know, while he was, he was telling me about, he was like, yo, man, I apologize if it seemed like that I've been ignoring your calls. And he's been telling me about these situations that he's been going through with his health. And so in my mind, you know, spiritually, I'm over here getting a totally different download. And the download that I'm getting is like, this dude is getting activated. His spiritual gifts are coming alive, are coming online, because there's a mission that he has to do. And these are some strong gifts. So if it's something that you haven't used, or you're not conscious of it, when it hits you in this big way, because of all of these alignments that's going on, you know, it's gonna be like a real big issue. It's gonna blow up like that. You know, we got this Jupiter thing that's going on. But a part of the conversation was that he checked out one of my videos, you know, that I sent him about the inner child, like the last video I did. And he told me this Bible verse, and this Bible verse was talking about, I think it was something about Nebuchadnezzar needed a dream decoded or something like that. And you know, and his people went to the astrologers first, but the astrologers, you know, they didn't want to give him the wrong answer or whatever, so they led the people that was, you know, looking to decode the dream, led them to Daniel, which is a man of God. And Daniel was able to interpret the dream and stuff like that. So in a lot of ways, you know, he was telling me that, you know, and this isn't something that I've not heard before. You know, anybody that's a Christian and they look at my channel, they automatically assume Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Hold on. Hold on. Bad boys. What you gonna do? But yeah, so dang, they out here today. So you know, when people look at my channel and they're Christian, they get these different you know, assumptions. They have these different assumptions and stuff like that, because of some of the words that I use. I'm gonna say it like that, because of some of the words that I use. But it's funny because a lot of what he talked about, where he was like, be careful where you put your faith, that's kind of what I was telling y'all in the video. You know, when it comes to the different pathways that leads to your inner child, you can't trust in the things that this system of soulless beings have given us to lead us back to our inner child, because they can easily take those things away. You know, kind of like how we've been seeing with the streaming and all that type of stuff. So, you know, he was like, you're gifted and you need to use your gift for the kingdom. You know, this is something that I've heard since like 2012, you know, and there's always been this gripe that I had about Christianity, and I really didn't understand it until that conversation, because there was a lot of things that I wanted to tell him, but I just knew, because of who I am, because of what I do, he's not going to necessarily listen to me, you know, because this is like the second or third time that I've had a person that was close to me going through some stuff, and because of who I am, because of who I represent, they don't want to hear it from me. Like, they don't want to listen to me. And then, you know, so there's always been this gripe though that I've had about Christianity, and this is the gripe. It's like, how do you expect me to accept a savior? How do you expect me to accept someone as my savior? And this particular savior, everything in the Bible that made this particular savior who he is, most of the passages have been taken out of the Bible that would give me that personal relationship with this particular entity that's supposed to be my savior, you know. And I never understood that, because when I look at different religions and I look at different spiritual systems, there's no doubt about the entity that you're worshiping, or the entity that you're honoring, or whatever. But when it comes to Jesus, there's so much about what made him who he was in his earlier life. There's so much that was taken away. It almost reminds me of someone, and this person, you know, has a high position, you know, like let's say like a doctor, or a person that has a high position, and you're supposed to give up everything that you are in order for you to be up under this particular person because of the job that they have, you know. And this right here goes into the Virgo moon. But when it comes to me, I've always been the type of person, I don't care about your job, because your job is something that your boss gave you. You got to do that job whether you want to or not. What I always cared about is, who are you outside of that job, and what about you made you the one qualified to do this job? I've always been that type of person, And it's because of that that really every time I didn't listen to my higher self when it came to those particular questions, I always got scammed. I always got manipulated. And when I look at a lot of the Christians today, they're also being scammed. They're also being manipulated because the main thing that they don't understand is that you calling another entity your savior isn't going to be enough to save you. Like, I know it's going to be hard to really grasp that, but this is the revelation that I've had for a while. You know, the only way that you can truly save yourself is that you got to know what Jesus did for him to be who he is, and you have to mirror that in your own way, in your own path. You know, which means a lot of the people that I know, you know, who really went on that journey, the same journey that Jesus had to go on, a lot of them are against Christianity. Just like I know a lot of people, like I give readings, you know, I talk about it all the time. I've given readings to some naturally androgynous people in my career doing these readings. You know, naturally androgynous people. You know, and I'm telling you, you know, these naturally androgynous people, they don't even like the LGBT community. They don't even like to associate themselves with it because of all of the evils and all of the messed up things that community is a part of. So that's something that I've been thinking about, and I've been getting so many ancestral messages, and the main messages is that it don't matter. You know, this is a Virgo moon. You know, Virgo is about work. You know, Virgo is about working. It's about work. You know, it's about being useful. So if you're a Virgo moon, there's a lot of different things about your spirit that is useful, that can be useful in this world. If you're a Virgo sun, you yourself are supposed to be useful in this world. As soon as you find out who you are, whatever that specific gift or that specific talent is, that's what's going to be useful for you in this world. So it's like everybody has that. Everybody has that. I'm telling you, when it comes to this message, it's like, it's just, it's like I'm going in and out. But the main thing is, I was looking at, and this goes into it too. I was looking at these different relationship videos on YouTube. And then I was thinking about how my mom and dad, you know, they've been together over 30 something years, probably more than that, 40 something years, and they still together to this day. And I thought about how my mom and dad met. You know, my dad, he was working at a grocery store called Easy Way. My mom, at the time, she was working at Crystals. And the thing about it is, with my mom, you know, she's had some really, really dope careers as well when it comes to cooking. You know, during this time in her life, you know, she had a lot of different things that she was good at. You know, she was in Florida before me. The reason why I wanted to go to Florida. But she had to come home to Memphis because my uncle at the time was being born. He was 3 years older than me. And, she just took a hustle. She just took a job at Crystal's just for the time being. So I'm thinking to myself, what if my dad was like, I don't want to be with you. You work at Crystal's. What if my mom acted like the way I be hearing a lot of these modern women talk? Oh, I don't want to be with you because you work at a grocery store. You work at Easy Way. I don't want to talk to you. And it really made me think the relationship that my mom and dad ended up creating, and which ended up creating me and my little brother and all that kind of stuff. It's like they got to know so much about each other outside of their jobs. And that's what brought them together. That's what made them, that's what made them who they are. That's what made them come together. It wasn't necessarily the job. The job is what created the platform for them to meet. But it was all of the things, all of the qualities that they had outside of their jobs. And this is one of the main things that that I've been going into these different revelations about. Even when it comes to me, it's like I'm over here looking at my Snapchat, I'm over here looking at my resume and all these different things. And it's like, yeah, like I got a lot of jobs. I'm like a Jamaican. I got so many different jobs, jobs or whatever. But most of the jobs that I have, isn't something that I'll just be like, yeah, I'm Chef Rick, I'm this, like, yeah, cooking is something that was passed down, but it's not necessarily, something that I want to be known for. It ain't really something that I want to be known for, but it's just something that I'm naturally good at because of, it was passed down. So then I thought about this on a higher level, like on a spiritual level, because the message was, you're never going to get out of doing work because even the gods have jobs. I was like, damn. Even the gods have jobs, and it makes you think. It makes you think, because it's like, you talking to somebody at their job or whatever. If you want to get to know, I'm trying to figure out a way to say it. It's like, if you want to get to know somebody who works at a job, there's got to be certain things that you're known to do, that people are known to do outside of their job, and it's something that you have to know. It's like, oh shoot, I just got another job just got sent to me right now. This is crazy. But I'm gonna show y'all the moon right quick. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's right there. It's the little light. So I'm right up under the moon while I'm trying to give this message, because right now a lot of us, we're going through this identity crisis. And the identity crisis is because for so long our mind has been hijacked by all of these different distractions all of our life. And some of us are at that age where we're finally taking the reins of our own mind so we can understand who we are and what is our purpose, what is our job, what did we come down here to do. Like, I'm hearing people talk about that. I've been hearing people talk about that for a while. They're like, man, I know my purpose in this world ain't to be working at this job all my life. I know my purpose in this world. That's what a lot of these Gen Alpha, and a lot of us are seeing. A lot of younger millennials and Gen Alpha. They're like, yo, you know, my parents and my grandparents might have did this, but I'm not trying to be working on 9 to 5 every single day for 60 years and all that kind of stuff. You know, so many of us, because of these alignments, so many of us are waking up. So many of us are waking up, and we're understanding like, yo, we've been manipulated. Our time, our mind and our time has been manipulated, and we came down here for a purpose. We came down here for a job, and there are some people out here. There's some people out here who got these jobs, and we're finding out that they're pieces of shit outside of their job. You know, it's like these, we're finding out, it's getting exposed that there's people out here and they have certain jobs, and in these jobs, you're supposed to trust them with your life because of the job that they have, you know. But then we're finding out with these files that undercover, you know, these people are doing certain heinous things to where you wouldn't even want to deal with that person even on their job. You know, that's the reason why there's a difference between history and mystery. You know, it's a difference. History is mandatory. Everybody gotta know the history. But the mystery isn't something. Oh, there go a frog. It's like a symbol of good luck. Hey. But the mystery is never something that's supposed to be taught outright, because it's always going to have different things in that mystery about who you are. That mystery, it's always going to be stuff in that that's unconventional. You know, it don't matter what spiritual system you decide that you want to go into. When you decide that you want to go into the mystery system part of it, there's going to be some things in there that's going to be immoral. There's going to be some things in there that you might not agree with. You know, your human nature. I'm gonna say it like that. There may be some things that your human nature just not gonna agree with. That's why it's supposed to be secret. You know, see, it's like it's as above, so below. You know, it's as above, so below. We're finding out that everything in our childhood got some type of real sinister stuff attached to it. Whether it's one of the voice actors who acted in your favorite cartoon growing up, or the creator, the actual creator of the cartoon growing up, or the actors on your favorite show, the rapper in your favorite song, the singer in your favorite song. You know, that was your prom song. That was your song that had good memories behind it. And now these files are coming out. So now you finding out all the secret stuff that had to happen in order for that song to be made. And now you feel a certain kind of way. But you got to understand, the people out there listening, that there was some secret stuff that was done to create you. There was a lot of secret things, you know, a lot of secret stuff. And I ain't just talking about your mom and dad in the bedroom, but there was a lot of secrets, a lot of things that happened in Genesis. It said, let us create man in our own image and likeness. You know, we all came down here with a soul family. You know, like all of this identity stuff, it all goes hand in hand. You know, shout out to Tariq Nasheed. He was talking about how, you know, he's looking up his genealogy, and he's learning, you know, the different, he's learning different things about his lineage. You know, some of us, we're doing this astrally. Some of us are astrally, we having these different dreams and and we having these different visions about, um, about our lineage and who we really are. And some of it is surprising, some of it is shocking. Some of it is gonna be hard for you to sleep at night. I'm gonna tell you the revelation that I had. You know, the revelation that I had was that pastor that helped me out. For me, he represents Orunmila. He represents Orunmila, which is my spirit brother. In the Orisha pantheon, Orunmila is Eshu's brother. And the reason why it always hurt me coming up when I lost friends and stuff like that was because the friends that I lost, it was always a situation to where I saved their life at one point in time. And when it came to the Orisha pantheon, the only man that Eshu saved like that was his own brother. And his brother never left him. His brother, I got so many, after that, after me and that pastor had that conversation, I got so many messages from Orunmila. The reason why Eshu is portrayed to be just a wandering fool, he's not a wandering fool. Eshu always knows where to go. He always knows the right choice. The reason why he knows the right choice is because Orunmila is always gonna figure out ways to let Eshu know either that he needs to turn around or that he's making the right choice. And so I asked Orunmila, I'm like, so what do you mean by that? And then I was reminded of this pataki. And these patakis can go either way because the energies can be interchangeable when it comes to certain principles and stuff. There was a way that if Eshu would have went that way, he would have got bone rushed. And Orunmila did his divination and found out that Eshu don't need to go that way. And so, he didn't necessarily he wasn't going to be able to catch Eshu on his own to be able to tell him. So he created a situation to where Eshu wondering why his stomach hurting, and he got to keep pulling over on his journey so he could take a dump until it got to a point where Orunmila was finally able to catch up to him. It's like, yo, I did that. Because if I wouldn't have did that, you would have went this other way, and you would have got bone rushed. So then, different situations ended up coming up in my life. Different situations ended up being presented to me, and Orunmila was like, "You see these different situations that you went through, and yeah, they were bad. Yeah, they were bad, but then you was always taken care of in the end." Because these situations wasn't necessarily meant to hurt you. It was just meant to make you turn around. It was meant to make you turn around so you can go a different way. And just so happened, you having to go use the bathroom, the road that you went on to use the bathroom, that's the road that you need to go on. And a situation like that happened to me today. So now, in my mind, I'm like, oh, okay. So now, since I understand who I am and I understand who my spirit team is, now when I go through certain things and now I understand the code, the universal code of how it goes down, I'm not gonna panic. I'm not gonna, fret. I'm not gonna worry because I'm like, okay, so God, where do I need to go? Okay, this roadblock has been put here, but it's not to hurt me. It's to make me go a different direction that I need to go. Little things like that. Versus a Christian will go through something and they'll just be like, oh, that's just the enemy. That's just the devil. That's just the enemy. And I'm like, no, that's not true. If God, you know, Yahweh, if Yahweh created good and bad, it would make sense for sometimes your own God will put bad things in your path to deter you so you can go the right way, you know, because we all have free will. That's the other thing about Eshu. The reason why they call Eshu a trickster is because when you ask Eshu about a direction or where to go or whatever, Eshu knows the right direction. He knows where to go. He knows where to go, but you have to specifically ask him for that. You know, you have to specifically ask him to for that particular answer, because we have free will, and most people, they want money, they want fame, you know, they want notoriety, they want popularity. They really don't want the truth. They really don't want to know what they actually need to know. So when you get what you want, and it's not what you actually thought that it was gonna be, you can't blame Eshu. You can't blame Eshu. You can't blame, you know, God. I'm not saying that you know, Eshu is God, but I'm saying interchangeably. You can't, when you ask God for something, you can't be mad at what you get as the result. So with all of this being said, it leads me to these 3 questions that I ended up getting. And hopefully I was able to, ooh, dang, I just got another job. Hold on. Can't be distracted. Can't be distracted. But so the first question is that you should be asking yourself during this period, because we got the full moon in Virgo, we got the eclipse, we got a lot of different energies going on in people's 10th house, which is the house of career, self notoriety, you know, what is the overarching meaning of your job and your purpose. So the first question that you got to ask yourself during this time is going to be, number 1, do you know who you are and who sent you? Do you know who you are and why you were sent here? Because some people were sent here to do a certain job. Some people were sent here to do a mission. And you came down here with all the energy, with all the creativity. You came down here with everything you need in order for you to do that job or to do that mission. And then you have some people, they're here so they can have certain experiences. You know, they came down here so they can experience certain things. And like I said, the more you as a individual start to go on the same Christ path that Jesus went on, the same mercy that Jesus had, you're going to understand why that mercy is needed. Why is you'll be able to understand it, not because somebody else said it, because when you go on this journey, you're gonna go through your own situations that's gonna lead you to that observation. You know. So the first question is, do you know who you are? Do you know who sent you? Because there's only one source, but you got to know what creator created you and why you were sent here. Because some people been down here, their souls been recycled. Some people, their souls been recycled down here. What's up, Misfit? Their souls been recycled down here for so many lifetimes. Because at the end of the day, the behind the scenes journey, you got to go on it. It might not be this lifetime, but you got to do it. You got to go on it. You got to understand why all of this has to happen. You got to understand why you were created, why archetypes like you have to be created, the grand scheme of things. Like you gotta get there. It might not be this lifetime, but you gotta do it. The second question is, what is your job? If it's a job that you came down here to do, what is your job? If you got your natal chart, what is in your 10th house and what is in your moon sign? What is in your 10th house? You know, everybody's supposed to be doing their own genealogy, their own spiritual ancestral lookup. Everybody got to be doing it right now in your own way. You can't just say, oh, I come from God. All right. You know, everybody come from God. Now what? You know, God created the heavens and the earth. Okay. Now what? You know, you can't just stop there. You got to keep going. You know, because your job is going to explain everything about your life before you was conscious of your job. Because what I'm trying to get at, whatever age it takes for you to finally get on your job, your initiation is your application. I'm gonna say it again. It don't matter how old you get, whatever age you get to, you know, whatever age you get to, when you finally understand what job that you're supposed to be on, your initiation into that purpose, into that job, is actually your application. That's the reason why I'm against the religion. That's why I'm against it. Because your initiation is supposed to be your application into your purpose that you were already equipped for. You know, you were already equipped for this. So that's the second question. And then the third question that you got to ask yourself, I don't know if it's really a observation or a question, but you got to ask yourself, is everything that I am right now, has everything that I am right now prepared me for this purpose, or prepared me for these experiences? Because this is where you got to forgive yourself of different things that you just didn't know. There's just a lot of stuff I just didn't know. You know, there's no way I would have found out unless I came on this path. Just certain stuff I just wouldn't have known it. So I can't keep beating myself up over it. And that's the same thing that you all out there have to do as well. Because the same thing with my mom and dad, it's like, yeah, you understanding, or you being able to have that communication between your heavenly father and your primordial mother, I'm gonna say it like that, is gonna be very important. The relationship between the primordial mother is something that most people don't have right now. And the reason, and the way that you can understand, because a lot of this is understanding the different messages that you get from spirit, if it's coming from your heavenly father's lineage, or is it coming from your primordial mother lineage. So that's another thing, you know. I learned so much about my primordial mother, and I learned so much about my mom and my grandma through my Lilith sign. So that's a pathway that you can take, learning more about your Lilith sign. Where's your Lilith at? You know, my Lilith was in Sagittarius in the 3rd house. So one of the biggest things that I had to understand, what's up, Straight Panther? One of the main things that I had to understand with my Lilith sign was that there's going to be different things in my path that I'm going to have to stand up for myself for. And I can't be afraid to stand alone, because I'm not like the people that are going to be trying to come against me. You know, I'm a hybrid. I'm half and half. So when they think they got me because of one half, you know, they really don't got me, because I got this other half that saved me. You know, it's like when you have a RV, it's like having an RV with 2 batteries. You know, my situation, I got an RV and I got 2 batteries in my RV. So if I got my heat on all night and my first battery is dead, see, if I'm just talking with somebody, and I'm telling them like, yeah, man, you know, I have my heat on in my vehicle all night, you know, that person, just with their limited mind, that person may tell you like, yo, you need to stop doing that, because your vehicle, the battery is going to go out in your vehicle. You know, you need to stop doing that. And this person that I'm talking to don't even know, because I just said vehicle. I didn't say I got an RV. So this person don't know that I have an RV that got 2 batteries. So if I got an emergency where I got to crank up my RV, I got a emergency switch that I turn on. I turn that switch on, and now I have enough amps to start up my RV. You know, that's something that's only unique to me because of my purpose and my job that I came down here to do. I'm a Freeman, you know, and Freeman is a sovereign name. So all the different, and there's not a lot of spiritual beings who came down here as a sovereign being, but Eshu is one of them, you know. And we're not sovereign because of our ego and all of that. We're sovereign because we have we never forgot where we came from. We have a close relationship with our spirit team. It's certain things about me that it don't matter what way I would have gone. Certain things about me, it was just always there from even when I was a kid. You know, it was certain journeys that my mom knew that I was gonna go on, and she tried to stop it because she couldn't understand it, but you know, it ended up happening anyway. It's just how it is. It's just certain things you're meant to experience, and it's really nothing you can do. It's nothing that anybody else can do. If it was meant for you to be have a certain authority and power in this lifetime, it don't matter how many people try to thwart your path, it's gonna happen whether they want it or not. And the perfect example of this is the tendernism guy. You know, the perfect example of this is the tendernism guy. You know, look at how old that tendernism dude is, the Unc. Look how old he is. You know, look how long he been making that food, and look how long it took for him to finally blow up on his own the way it was always meant for him to do. But look at what he had to do first. He had to be a sideshow act, and he had to blow up somebody else's company in order for the people. And that's how you know this is spiritual, because the people were the one that elevated Unc. The people was the one that called Michael Jackson the king of pop. You know, it's the people that did this. you know, that helped him out. It was the people. Because at the end of the day, you know, nobody wants to see somebody get manipulated, and nobody wants to see somebody get effed over and all that kind of stuff. You know, nobody wants to see that. So the thing about it is, it's never too late. When you go through this line of questioning, and you get revealed some messages about your job, you know, who are you really, and what is your job that you came down here to do, and all of that. You may be listening to me. You may be in your 40s. You got like 6 kids, and you just been going through the motions, you know, and then all of a sudden your name get called like the like the Power Rangers or something, you know. Don't be afraid to answer that calling, because it's never too late. It's never too late to do your job. It's never too late to do your job. But the people who prosper the most in this world are the people who not only they love their job, but who they are outside of their job is so magnetic, you know, and that's what makes you larger than life. You said it was leaving that smoker he used over the years. That was spiritual too. Yeah. Yep. That's definitely true. You know. But yeah, that's the main thing. If y'all can heed that message, you will be glad that you did. I'm really trying to think, because I think that was like the main thing, the main message that I got is that I'm more than my job. That was the main thing. That it was like all of these different entities, all of these different spiritual entities kept coming to me like, yo, you know, yeah, I'm known as this, but I can do this too. I can do that too. I can do this too. You know, Ochosi came to me. He was like, yo, I can help you with your goals. You know, I can help you with your goals. And I'm like, so how you gonna help me with my goals? And it was like a mental thing. It was like that whole day. It was like I was on like Adderall or something. Like, I don't know what Adderall feels like, but man, that whole day, it was like I got everything done that day. I was super focused. I'm like, man, let me hurry up and go get this Ochosi Ileke. Let me go ahead and get this Ileke right quick. Cooking can be spell word. Yeah. I'm being called back to my ancestral purpose. You know, I've always been good at turning nothing into something, but it smells bad over here. But I got that from my mom. You said take advantage, little bro. But yeah, it's like, man, I'm so in awe. Just me learning about Eshu, you know, like just me learning about Eshu. I'm just so in awe, because it's like, dang, like you can do so much stuff. And it's like every time I tap into that Eshu energy, I end up in another career. I end up being an animator. And man, I can't wait to show y'all. I'm finally starting to render out these scenes. Oh my God. When I tell you, like, and I'm so proud of myself because I didn't use AI. No generative AI was used in creating this. That's why it's taken so long. But I'm so proud of myself, because it's like, man, like I don't have no formal training, y'all. Like, this was just something, just a coincidence. I'm just, laying down in my truck with my phone, and I'm like, man, I just wish that it was a way that I can play PC games on this phone. And it was that one idea that turned into me being an animator, animating this series that's gonna skyrocket, and it's gonna catapult me. I'm already putting it out there. This Eshu's World, Project Eshu's World, is gonna blow up because it's unique. There's nothing quite like it. Y'all gonna have to bear with me because it's gonna be slow. It's gonna be slow building up because I gotta buy resources. I gotta do a lot. But once it get going, because I haven't introduced the mechanic yet. I haven't introduced the main mechanic of Eshu's World. I haven't introduced it yet because I want to make sure I got all my legal ducks and stuff in a row first. But yeah, it's man, when I tell you this world starts to be, it starts to give you that curiosity, it starts to give you that wonder, because it's like the more you on this side, even though this side is very it can be a little chaotic sometimes. It can be very chaotic sometimes. But if you have self-control and you're connected to God, then this is the side that you got to be on to really understand who you are and why you were put in this into this world. So I appreciate everybody who checked me out, everybody who liked this. Remember, go to the description of my live if you want to donate, if you want to get a reading, because I still do those, still give readings. And yeah, when I come out of my when I come out during these times, is always to give a spiritual message that the Most High has given me to give y'all. This ain't me. I'd rather be in the RV right now, got my spliffy and be getting ready for work. But it's the Virgo moon, so I gotta come out. I gotta come out because this is the Eshu. Eshu wants to tell you that that we are more than this job. We are more than our jobs. You got to remember that. You are more than your job. Don't let your job consume you. And when I say job, I'm not even talking about your 3D job. I ain't talking about your job as a human. I'm talking about don't let your purpose consume you. Don't let your purpose consume you. Don't let what you came down here to do. Don't let it consume you. Don't let these distractions of the world consume you so much that you never get around to doing your job. Because you got to do your job. Because if you don't do your job now, you got to be the one doing your job while everybody else is having fun. So hope y'all got something out of that. I hope I wasn't just rambling, because it just seemed like I was just rambling, trying to get all my thoughts out. I think I did good during this retrograde as far as getting the message out. I think so. But until next time, peace.